Kemper Arena in Kansas City. It's the semifinals of the Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament. For the third time this season, it's the Wildcats of Kansas State taking on their arch rivals, the Jayhawks of Kansas. The winner meets Oklahoma State tomorrow for the championship. Welcome back to Studio 66. Doug Bell alongside Chris Piper. It's been a long time since K-State knocked off the Jayhawks. You have to go back to 1994. 15 losses in a row. For Kansas, a freshman is the key. Jeff Boschee played great last night.
He really did. You know, the kid's fearless. He'll take any shot. He'll hit the wide open shot. Jeff Boschee, a guy that's stepped up for Kansas, filled that point guard slot. A little different point guard than Kansas is used to. This guy likes to score. He'll shoot the three off the dribble. You can shoot it standing still, a hair trigger. Had 16 points last night, 4 for 7 beyond the three-point line. As long as he can figure out what's the good shot, Jeff Boschee will get the job done for Kansas. And we can't say just enough about Paco May. Really, the senior has taken K-State, 18 points. He's scoring all over the floor, but more importantly, the leadership role and the defensive presence for Kansas State.
K-State loves a half-court game. They like to slow it down, control tempo. That's been the problem. Kansas has been able to run on these guys, and it's resulted in 2 victories this season. Fred White and Paul Splittorff are coming up from Kemper right after this.
Today's game is brought to you by the new Dodge. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. Phillips 66, makers of super clean gasolines and Trop Arctic motor oil. Nations Bank. Sonic, America's drive-in, where we invite you to drive in for a change. CarQuest Auto Parts. For the CarQuest store nearest you, call 1-800-492-HEART.
And welcome back to Kemper Arena, Kansas City. This is day 3, game 2 of the Big 12 postseason tournament. 1 finalist to be determined, and 2 old rivals hook up here, Kansas State and Kansas. Oklahoma State dumping Texas in a great exciting ball game in the first game here today. And now the winner of this one is in the championship game tomorrow against the Cowboys in this tournament, not really following the form chart now. Hi, everybody. I'm Fred White, our analyst, Paul Splittorff. And Paul, we all know about KU's dominance of Kansas State. 15 wins in a row, but Kansas State playing their best basketball of the year right now.
They're really taking good shots, really running up the points in this series so far. They've had problems with Kansas so far this year. They've already lost a couple times. 7th seed in the tournament. Everything to gain, nothing to lose today. They like to win this afternoon. See if the legs hold out tomorrow.
And see if they can fight their way into the NCAA tournament tomorrow afternoon. A lot of people think they have to win the tournament to get there. Who knows? Here are the Southwestern Bell starting lineups. Tom Asbury starts Chris Griffin at the point. He's battling bad knees. Has not practiced after games this year. Now he's asking those knees to give him 3 straight days. Paco May, Josh Reed, Tony Kidd, and Sean Rhodes. For Roy Williams at Kansas State, Ryan Robertson, who said coming in, I'm going to start shooting the ball more. Played very well last night. Jeff Boschee, the precocious freshman, a great 3-point shooter at the other guard. TJ Pugh, so solid in the middle. Nick Bradford and Eric Chenoweth. And now time for our Dodge keys to the game, Paul.
First of all, for Kansas State, and Tom Asbury wants his team to come out and have a lot of poise versus the Kansas pressure out on the perimeter and also execute their offense. We talk about them shooting the ball well in this tournament because they have executed their offense, gotten good shots, and they've been able to make most of those shots. Roy Williams down at the other end of the floor. He knows the Jayhawks need to have patience on offense. Did a great job here last night of keeping their spacing, working the ball, got good shots, and went on to win the ball game and also defend Manny Dies. Dies has had a couple great games against KU already this year.
There's Jeff Boschee walking away from the KU huddle. He has set a KU freshman record with 66 threes this year. He is not bashful. And Paco May finishing his career at K-State as senior and really carrying this ball club through this tournament.
Looked like he was going to be an outstanding scorer earlier in his career. Now a 5th-year senior. And he's starting to hit his stride offensively, and right now he is the go-to guy for Kansas State.
Josh Reed has had a nice tournament so far. The junior from tiny Brewster, Kansas, out in northwest Kansas. And here we go. We are underway. Robertson with the tip. KU on the attack first here. Boschee got the first crack at it, missed.
Rebounding numbers were pretty even in the first 2 contests between these 2 teams. Kansas State normally out-rebounds their opponents by about 8. This should be a good matchup today.
Josh Reed down inside. Tony Kidd. And ball knocked loose, but Paco May saved it, and then he was called for the walk, but he grabbed it when it came down. First turnover in the ball game. No score yet, just underway. Well, how about the first game here this afternoon? Texas got 2 cracks at the end of it to tie it, couldn't get it done.
And you get the tournament time to advance. You figure you're going to have to win at least 1 game on your last shot. And you might be caught up in a couple other close ones. And that was a close one today.
Chenoweth puts KU in front by a pair. So the Jayhawks get the first bucket down. And now Boshi will meet Griffin at midcourt, and we'll see how Griffin's knees hold up for him here today.
Kansas State playing on their 3rd consecutive day. Only have 2 players on their team that have averaged better than 30 minutes in the first 2 games. Chris Griffin is one of those. Sean Rhodes the other. Griffin averages about 34 minutes a game in tournament play, 32 minutes in conference play, so he's got a lot of durability.
Robertson bumped by Paco May as he takes the shot. Paco thought that Robertson initiated the contact. The officials thought otherwise.
The cat attack at Kemper. How about the field goal shooting percentage here in this tournament? The defense has been steady for Kansas State all season long. The rebounding margin, they have been absolute bandits on the boards. Key number for them today will be their turnovers against Kansas. They had problems with that pressure defense earlier this year.
This is not a guy you want to foul. Robertson, an 86% free throw shooter. A senior, he's taken over the leadership role in his club. 6'5" from St. Charles, Missouri. This is his 139th game at Kansas. Danny Manning played in most games at Jayhawk with 147. If KU goes to the national championship, he'll tie him. Paco May, they got Reed wide open. Good look. Couldn't go. And Chenoweth high to bring the rebound down for Kansas.
Give Kansas State much of a chance to win this ball game. Josh Reed has to be able to hit shots like that. Perimeter shooter got a good look that last time down for Kansas State. Wildcats handled the pressure pretty well that time. Kansas last night had great spacing, moved the ball around, forced the defense to chase them all night long.
Get rebounds, the miss by Chenoweth. Griffin moving it to the wing in a hurry now. He decides to pull it back out front. Had a screen there from Rhodes. And he's going to take the... No, he tried to throw it down inside, and Rhodes had turned his back on him. Little miscommunication right there.
Tom Asbury has seen his club bounce back nicely from a final game of the regular season loss out at Colorado. A disappointing performance for Kansas State, where he benched his starters midway in the second half, played the backups.
Robertson working behind a TJ Pugh screen. Now Bradford. Chenoweth, baseline, inside, tried to reverse it. Blocked by Kidd, got it back, takes it up again. Kidd was there again. They fight for the rebound, and K-State has it. Josh Reed to the wing in a hurry.
Kansas did a good job of getting that ball down inside. Chenoweth was the first option for him last night. Looks like he is again today.
Robertson going right at it. Chenoweth behind him. Nothing there for the Hawks, and here come the Cats on the run.
Like Kansas would be able to close that out. Had some numbers. And Robertson had a good look at the basket.
That's the way the game just finished for Texas. They missed a couple of cracks down
Same
there.
basket. Wonder if something's wrong with it.
I don't know. Better check it. The miss by K-State. Either side getting it done early in the ball game. 4-2 KU.
Looks like the players are going to burn some energy early on in this game. Pace will probably settle down a little bit more as we work our way into the middle minutes of this first half.
Kansas is 1 for 8. Kansas State 1 for 3 in the early going here. Substitution both sides. Lester Earl will check in for Kansas. Cortez Groves for Kansas State. Josh Reed knocks down the tray. He's a good shooter.
Kansas State, the field goal percentage is key for them. If they can hit shots from out on the perimeter, they'll be in this ballgame. Can play with about anybody in this conference, or maybe anybody in the country. They've played some solid teams well this year, but when they don't shoot well, it might not be close.
Two teams that pride themselves on defense. Kansas State allowing their opponents to shoot just 37% for the year. KU 39% their opponents are shooting. Kansas State number 1 in the NCAA right now in that department.
First in the league, and Kansas tied for second. So maybe not a surprise that you're seeing solid defensive teams playing in the semifinals of the conference tournament.
Paco May couldn't make the catch. 4 turnovers charged to Kansas State. KU doesn't have one yet. Lester Earl now has checked in for Kansas.
Battle's going to be big this afternoon at the power forward position. Lester Earl is going to need to give Kansas some big minutes. Working inside with TJ Pugh for Roy Williams. Tom Asbury will counter with Manny Dies off the bench, who is now off the bench, and also Tony Kidd.
They both put new power forwards on the floor. Lester Earl's been hampered by so many injuries. 4 knee operations. Has had a bad ankle this year. There he is, and a hit that. before the injuries would have been a lot passed to him, and he just couldn't get a hop out of there and missed the shot.
Doesn't have the hops left in those legs. Not going to have it for the rest of this season. Kansas will hope that he comes back for his senior campaign next year with a lot more explosiveness off the floor.
Manny Dimes has had a good tournament. Knocks down that little turnaround jumper. His first try today. And Kansas State leading 7-4.
And Manny Dimes put up big numbers against KU already this year. 12 points, 9 rebounds in the first game, 14 points, 10 rebounds in the second game. Coming off the bench here today.
Kansas State had missed their last 8 field goals, or Kansas rather. Down low, Lester Earl looking for room. Dives blocked him, and it's out of bounds to Kansas. And he dives with a block. That is his 39th block of the year, and we have a timeout here. We'll be back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66, the performance company. Watch the coaches reacting to the play.
Kansas State is hitting 60% of their shots and have jumped out to a 7-4 lead. We've played just under 5 minutes in this ball game. Notice the defense that Manny Dimes is playing right here on Lester Earl. Earl will go to the far side of the floor. Dimes will let him go and play behind him. Looks like he's comfortable to go ahead and give him that low block position. Normally you want to deny the pass inside to a Lester Earl, but with him losing the explosiveness on his legs, looks like Kansas State is going to let him have that spot and try to block his shot.
Interesting strategy, but if a gamble worked that time. Well, it looks for KU to make a little change down in there the next time.
Kansas State makes a change now. Goes zone defense, not unusual for them. Everybody in the league knows that they play the 2-3 zone on that inbounds pass.
Well, Marlon London, a great save. TJ Pugh battling to rebound to Earl Miss. The Jayhawks simply can't knock it down. They are 1 for 13 now in the early going here. And they've missed some point-blank shots.
Kansas State, a couple good nights in this tournament so far. Kansas had a similar finish to their regular season. Did not shoot well at Iowa State in a final season loss. Did not shoot well in the second half. His own thrown up by the Cyclones netted them that win.
Well, how about the rebound by Travis Reynolds, the freshman from Junction City?
He's one of those freshmen that has gained a lot of playing time in the second half of the conference season that really might be out of line, still calling him a freshman.
Kansas State, I-5 now. The Jayhawks ice cold at the start of this game. Gregory going baseline and a charging foul. Right there was Joe Leonard, who's been giving the Cats some pretty good minutes off the bench lately. Not a threat to score, but he comes in and gets solid on defense and does things just like he just did.
Made a solid play right there. Kenny Gregory, a key player for Kansas. A great player here last night, playing as a sophomore off of the bench. They'll need a good day out of him today.
You saw that score from the ACC where North Carolina is ahead of Maryland. UNCC beat Louisville today.
Did UNCC play 4 consecutive days?
I believe they did. Got Cincinnati and Louisville over the last 2 of them. How about that?
Well, it can be done. Been a couple upsets in this tournament already.
Griffin a miss. Speaking of that conference, first, when we get a minute, I'll talk about Charlie Spooner a little bit. He's retired and how great he's been to all of us who have had a privilege to cover college basketball over the past several seasons. There hasn't been a better, more fun guy to work with, and probably not a better coach around than Charlie Spooner. And we wish him all the best.
These teams are fun to cover. Oh boy. He put a lot of people in seats. Springfield and over in St. Louis.
That whistle blowing and a foul was called before Cortez Groves got the shot off. And the other good thing about Charlie, if you want to know what was the last great country music song, all you do is ask, because he had it. 13:27 left in our first half, and Roy Williams is going to try 5 new ones. Count them, 5. He has put a whole new team on the floor.
Kansas does like to substitute a lot. They go about 8 or 9 deep on their bench, but rarely do they come with 5 new ones.
Terry Nooner is on the floor, and he is a guy that Jayhawk players and fans love. And he just might light a spark for him if he does something.
When he gets on the floor this early, it tells you that things are not going well for the Jayhawks, and there is a spark to be lit.
How about Manny Dimes? He was just about out at the limit of his range, and he knocked down a deuce, and it's 11-4 Kansas State.
He is stepping out a little bit, normally out to about 10 feet, only about 8 feet on his baby hook, but stepped out to about 12 or 15 there.
There was a whistle.
Manny Dimes has been relegated to the bench recently for Kansas State. Take a look at that last shot. Chenoweth trying to move him off of his spot and just inside the 3 line from about 15 feet. Nice soft touch on the jumper and on the low block. Entry pass and goaltending by Dimes.
Cortez Groves in and out. Dimes, strong rebound, back up, short with a try. Leonard got fouled. The Cats are just hammering the offensive glass right now. They have a dozen rebounds to 6 for Kansas, and that's just how they started against Missouri last night. Kansas State had 30 rebounds at halftime last night. They are giving the effort.
At one time, they were up on the rebound totals 21-8, and Missouri a solid rebounding team in the Big 12 Conference.
Joe Leonard, 7'1" sophomore from St. Louis. First points.
Started a couple ball games earlier this year. Sean Rhodes, around Christmas time, was out for a couple games with a sprained ankle. Tom Asbury went to Joe Leonard, who gave him pretty good minutes.
13-6 K-State. That's Terry Nooner with the basketball. Tony Kitt set to the inner for Kansas State. Nooner, Nick Bradford. They're looking in at Chenoweth. Leonard dueling down in the lane, and the ball taken away by Manny Dice. Decided, well, I'll just hand it to Cortez Groves. Now the long pass. Paco May, looping jump shot, no. Leonard has an offensive board, and he's fouled.
Manny Dice is fortunate that ball slipped out of his hand because he wanted to throw that lead pass to Paco May breaking down the floor, and it would have been an ill-advised pass. There are white jerseys all the way around Paco May getting into the offensive zone, and Roy Williams is hot at his team.
You saw that shot of him just as he settled down. Boy, he was really after an official there. Not happy, is he?
Roy Williams upset with the officiating. He felt that Kansas State had pushed his players underneath the basket. Pushing inside allowed them to get solid rebounding position.
Manny Dice taking a breather. Tony Kitt back on the floor. Dice came off the bench, hit 2 quick buckets. He's had a good tournament. Leonard has knocked down 3 of 4 free throws now. He averages 1 point a ball game, has 3 in this one. And Kansas State leading by 8 points now.
Kansas State has had some success in the zone. It looks like they're going to stay that way. 2-3 set. They'd like to put some pressure on the ball.
Bochy with an answer for it. Jeff Bochy's first bucket of the ball game. And his 67th 3-ball of the year.
One of the things that Bochy has done all season long for the Kansas Jayhawks is a willingness to take the big shot.
Somebody said to Roy Williams, isn't he fearless? And he said, yeah, sometimes maybe clueless. He's a freshman, but we love him.
Which way do you think the coach is going? He is the point guard for one of the best programs in the country. Is he fearless or clueless?
I'm going to take fearless right now. 11:48 left in our first half. We have a timeout. Manny Dice has made a lot of tough shots today. Here's another one. We'll bring you right back to Kemper. Stay with us for semifinal action. Phillips 66 is proud to be the title sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Be sure to stop by your local Phillips 66 station and fill up with high-quality, super clean gasoline. Only from Phillips 66, the performance company. You want to know one reason Roy Williams wins a lot of games? He will accept nothing less than your best. A lecture going on at the Hawk bench right there.
Kansas State got to be very comfortable with the tempo of this ball game, the way things are working, even though they haven't shot well. Lead 14-9.
You know, one thing to look at, you saw that score, 14-9. Even though the Hawks are shooting it so poorly, they are hanging around. That ball got slapped back up once and wouldn't go. And intercepted by Cortez Groves to the bucket. Got it.
Had to work his way to the bucket and around the official, who was caught in the middle of the play. Paco May just hanging back on defense, able to pick off the outlet pass. Kansas State will stay in their zone.
Excuse me, third Kansas turnover. Roy Williams staying with that unusual lineup. There's Chenoweth. He can shoot it. Turnaround jumper won't go. And Johnson grabbed the loose ball and scored. Great for KU.
And it was Bradford that knocked it loose, working along the baseline. Slapped the ball loose. KU able to pick it up and finish.
Shante Johnson, the junior from San Diego. May underneath Kitt, strong to the bucket, nothing there. Leonard working good. Kansas State doing a job on the offensive glass.
Kansas State runs their offense well. They set solid picks and strong cuts to the basket. Strong cut and finish right there for the Wildcats.
5 offensive boards for Kansas State. Nooner off target. Shante Johnson fouled by Joe Leonard. The first foul on Leonard.
Shante Johnson getting early minutes here this afternoon for Kansas. He's only played in 11 games this season. He has had some knee problems. Johnson, a tremendous athlete, got that rebound. Plenty of contact on the stick back.
Shante Johnson hasn't been to the line much this year. 2 for 7. A little unfamiliar with the procedure here. Now 4 substitutions, Kansas State. And 2 for KU. Griffin's coming back. Reed, Dyes, and Rhodes for Kansas State. Marlon London for Kansas. Robertson's back. And Ashanti Johnson will give way to TJ Pugh if he makes the free throw. Rhodes the rebound. So Kansas State up by 7. 10:34 left in the first half. The winner of this one will meet Oklahoma State tomorrow in the Big 12 tournament championship game. Kansas fighting their way in there. Hopefully they've won the first 2 Big 12 tournaments.
Into the third day of the conference tournament. This is where fatigue starts to be a little bit of a factor. Should not be a problem for these 2 teams.
Dyes a little careless pass. Now the ball knocked loose again, and Kansas State survives it. Great hustle. Chenoweth went to the deck but couldn't capture the rock that time. It was a little bit elusive down here for both sides.
Talk about these teams and their depth. Kansas has 8 players that get a lot of playing time. Roy Williams uses a bench quite frequently. 8 players get regular playing time. Kansas State even a little bit deeper. They have 10 players that average 12 minutes or more per game.
7 on the shot clock for Kansas State. Rhodes the miss. Can't get the board. It's out of bounds to Kansas.
Sean Rhodes was surprised by that pass. Chris Griffin slicing across the lane. A little hook pass inside.
Now Kansas State starting to miss. They're 7 for 18. Kansas 4 for 18. There's the shooting right there.
Sometimes teams will come out and shoot poorly early in a ballgame in a rivalry contest. There's always a little extra pressure on teams when they're playing one of their key opponents. Like to get off to a great start.
Kansas 1 for 6 from 3-point range. Boschee threw up an air ball, and Gregory there to get the stick back. Kenny Gregory's first bucket of the ball game.
Well, Kenny Gregory's best moments this year have been against Kansas State. 16 points one night, 19 points the second time out, and Lawrence, who led the Jayhawks in both their games in scoring.
Rhodes down the lane, and the shot won't fall. Chenoweth with the board, and here comes Kansas. Gregory 1-on-3, decides to back it out. Boschee decides to cut one loose, won't go. Rebound, Cortez Groves, Kansas State. The action is heated.
And TJ Pugh beat him to the inside rebounding position. Groves, the guard, took it right over the top.
Now Griffin against Boschee. Gives it up. Groves the jump shot, no. The board to Manny Dyes. Kansas State's got another offensive rebound here. They now out-rebounded KU 18-12 overall, and they're really doing a job on the offensive glass.
Plenty of opportunities to get rebounds. There aren't been many shots dropping over the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Groves throws a line drive up that won't go, and we've got a foul on the rebound attempt.
And once again, TJ Pugh at the inside rebounding position, and that time far enough away from the basket that there was no chance for Sean Rhodes to get over his back.
First foul on Rhodes.
A solid defender and rebounder for Kansas.
Team fouls, 3 on Kansas State, 4 on Kansas. 8:40 left in our first half. Jeff Boschee is going to take a little breather right now. Marlon London back on the floor. The 6'3" freshman from Broadview, Illinois, has been a pleasant surprise for Kansas this year, Marlon London. Kansas had a 2-0 lead, and they haven't led since. London wide open down inside, had to turn it into a tough shot and got it. Marlon London, good work.
Kansas State back in the man-to-man defense that time. No problem at all for Kansas to work it inside.
Inside out game now. Griffin blocked by Ryan Robertson. Kansas defense turns it around. Robertson pushing it up court to the top of the circle.
Griffin rarely looks for the shot early in the possession, especially when it's covered to where somebody can step up and block it.
Gregory got an offensive board and couldn't convert it off the Chenoweth miss. Kansas State leading by 3, 7:55 left in the first half. Josh Reed for 3.
That is a key guy for Kansas State. Going to have to keep his legs underneath him this afternoon. Cannot afford to get tired. He is the most consistent shooter from the perimeter. The shooters are the guys that are going to have to get some rest and keep his legs strong.
His 50th three-point game of the year. He's shooting 36% from beyond the arc. 17 on the shot clock for Kansas. Dyes picks up Robertson. He comes right back down the lane and got it. Ryan Robertson with an excellent drive to the bucket.
Robertson just kept his dribble alive. Kansas State with no help defensively. Rotate the defense and take away that driving lane.
Well, sometimes the defense just kind of goes to sleep when you make that long dribble drive to the basket. They think you're really not going to go, and suddenly it's too late for him.
Well, throughout his career, Robertson has been kind of a perimeter player. Just recently, as he started to put the ball on the floor more and look to drive to the basket in an effort to shoot more free throws.
Oh, T.J. Pugh walked off and left Reed, but he missed the shot. Kansas survived a defensive mistake that time. He backed off a little too soon. Chenoweth's going to try it again, and now a foul call on the turnaround jump shot. Chenoweth, who did not score in the last game against Kansas, is 1 for 7 in this game so far.
The team's working hard on the offensive end. Kansas getting some help from Marlon London. Averages just under 4 points per ball game. And Josh Reed from behind the 3-line. Reed averaging just under double figures per contest. You mentioned Chenoweth shut out in the last time out against Kansas State. A strange line for Eric Chenoweth. No points, 14 rebounds. Had 4 assists. But a solid game defensively.
Reed and Dyes taking a breather for Kansas State now. Reynolds and Joe Leonard back in. Chenoweth, second free throw attempt. Got a lot of rim and got the shot down. So Chenoweth converts them both. He has 4 points. We have a break and we're back after this from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company. KU now beginning to overcome some early frustrations, and a tongue lashing from Coach Roy Williams may have turned him around a bit here. They're back with him too.
Kansas starting to work their way back into this game. Kansas State now leads by 2. It looks like this last play is going to be a clear out for Robertson to go to the baseline. Instead, he goes over the top, and no help on the weak side defense for Kansas State. Nobody took away the driving lane. A couple picks right there, one by Pugh, another one by Chenoweth, and no help defense from Josh Reed.
Out of the huddles they come. 6:48 left in the first half. There's Ryan Robertson today, 4 points. Again, said before the tournament started, I'm going to shoot the ball more. He's a senior. He wants to take it over. His ball club losing that last game of the regular season up at Iowa State, and he felt like he needed to take more responsibility, perhaps.
Kansas now wanting to turn up the defensive pressure. Well, you talk about Ryan Robertson in last night's game. He did shoot the ball, but he didn't look like he shot it and forced the ball.
Fouled by Griffin. Griffin saying he got me with an elbow, but he's not going to sell it.
First key for Kansas State this afternoon was handle the pressure of Kansas and play with poise when you get that pressure. And here comes the double team pressure. Ball slapped loose. Lead pass to Ryan Robertson. To the glass. Unable to get that 2 points, but he'll be at the free throw line. T.J. Pugh with the steal. Robertson with the run at the goal.
The senior from Omaha. 6'8" senior out of Creighton Prep High School. Doesn't score a lot. 5 points, 5 boards a game. Terrific. Or rather, Robertson at the line, but T.J. Pugh, we're talking about him. He's just a call. They call him Mr. Intangible, and good reason why. That's 999 points now in his career for Ryan Robertson. One away from Towson.
Kansas continues to work with that trapping pressure. Got their hands on another pass.
Bradford trying to shovel it down inside off the steal. The ball's still loose. Out of bounds to Kansas. Jayhawks defense really paying some dividends now.
Asbury looking down his bench for some help offensively. Roy Williams got to be enthused with the energy that this defense has put into his team.
Now Tom Asbury putting 3 fresh players out there. Rhodes, Dyes, and Reed all come back on the court. Leonard and Reynolds sit down, and Ty Sims. Now we have whistle blowing here as something held up play for just a moment. Now they're going to put it in play. Bradford with the inbounds pass. Robertson way outside. Now Boshi. Kansas State in the zone. Bradford right in the middle of that zone. Fires it to Lester Earl for the dunk. Terrific pass.
Nick Bradford, the ideal guy for Kansas to play that position in the high lane. Able to put the ball on the floor, play with his head up, and deliver the pass or points.
KU now in front by a pair after being down by 8. Now we're going to have an over-the-back foul on Lester Earl.
No, you talk about getting the ball in hands of people at a part of the floor where they can do some damage. Traffic do a lot of damage there, starting at 15 feet with his dribble. Strong to the basket. Mr. Earl moving without the ball. Able to finish the play.
Well, he drew the extra defender and just knew that somebody had to be open and found him in a heartbeat.
One of the keys to breaking a zone is slicing through the gaps, get into an open spot, preferably in the middle of that zone. Tons of opportunities there.
There you see the time, 5:45 left in the first half. Kansas by 2.
Matchup inside. Dives working against Lester Earl.
Cortez Groves knocks down a line drive 3. Woo!
Cortez Groves stepping out a little bit farther than what he normally does. Has the ability to take the 3, but not usually the deep 3 like that last one.
That was a line drive. It's stuck. Boshi in traffic. Now Bradford down in the corner. Robertson turned down a shot. Boshi won't. Tries it from the top of the circle. Short. And saved by Lester Earl to Bradford.
Both teams have done a nice job on the offensive glass here this afternoon. Quite a battle on both ends of the floor. Kansas State continues to play that zone. They don't always have a man on the ball with the pressure.
Boshi, soft little jump shot coming. Jeff Boshi has 5 points. Kansas by 1.
Boshi without that pressure on the ball, able to split the defenders out front. From right at the top of the key.
Well, what a tournament this has been. Oklahoma State surviving a late shot by Texas to win the first semifinal game today. Eddie Sutton's crew in the championship game tomorrow. Reed a miss there. Bradford the board. Here comes KU up by 1 with the basketball. 4:25 left in the first half. Boshi. Ball knocked loose. Battle for it and a foul. On Bradford for the push, and pretty good foul actually. K-State was going to get an easy bucket out of it.
Well, it was not an intentional foul, just guys going for a loose ball, but Bradford with plenty of contact on Chris Griffin. Unfortunately for the Jayhawks, that contact was made. Watch the guys go for the loose ball. Griffin knocked to the floor. Kansas picks the ball up. The lead pass from Dyes, so it would have been an easy 2 points for Kansas State. Instead, they'll get the possession.
We mentioned the start of the game, Griffin's tender knees. He's been out there a lot. He usually doesn't practice after games. He's playing on him for the 3rd straight day in this tournament. Shot by Rhodes, won't fall. Rhodes thought he got fouled. Here comes KU again up by 1 with the ball.
One of the things the teams do at Thanksgiving and Christmas is try to get into a tournament. You go through the drill of what it's like to play on successive days, even 3 straight days, and not all the time for the players, also the coaching staff. You got to put together a game plan, check tape, put things together as far as what you want to do, and also see how the legs are going to hold up. Kansas did it earlier this year. Kansas State really got blown out in their 3rd game over in Hawaii at Thanksgiving. They got drilled by Clemson, and they were out of legs on day 3.
We have a timeout here. Jeff Boshi knocking down his 5th point of the ball game, and KU leading by 1 at this break. Kansas State hanging with the Jayhawks here. They've lost 15 in a row to the University of Kansas. They are down 1 here in the first half. Led throughout most of the half. The Kansas defense getting it turned around. Coming up at halftime, the National Car Rental halftime report. You can expect highlights from the Oklahoma State victory over Texas in the first game here today. Then we'll take you around the nation, look at scores from other tournaments. Well, the action in postseason tournament play now is really heating up all over the country. Josh Reed for Kansas State has scored 6 on a pair of 3-point buckets. You know they'd love to get him cranked up again. Wildcats zoning the inbounds pass. Boshi at the top of the zone.
When you talk about the conference finals, Texas really banged up after a couple games here in Kansas City. Might be tough for the Cowboys to bounce back as well.
Now Kansas turns it over for just the 5th time here. Kansas State's committed only 6. K-State has blocked 3 shots. Kansas 1. Wildcats shooting 33%. Jayhawks 32%. So the defenses are doing their job, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Or maybe the offenses aren't. But given the way both these teams play defenses, I think you'd have to come down on the side of the defense.
Well, Kansas shot the ball well in both games against K-State earlier this year. In the first 2 games, Kansas State shot 31% against KU. So as far as the defensive struggles so far in the first 2 ball games, Kansas easily won those. Pretty good matchup again today.
And he dies to miss. Tell you what, there aren't any easy shots coming up in this thing.
You don't expect the easy shots when you got 2 of the top 3 defensive teams in the conference. And you've played each other so much. And of course, when they're not playing each other, they're still seeing the other guys on television. They know the personnel very well.
Bradford down low with a spinning jumper. Won't fall. Kansas State the board. Here come the Wildcats down by 1 with 2:51 left in the first half. Bradford shuts down Griffin. Sean Rhodes is going to take a crack at a three and come up short. Robertson picks the rebound off the floor.
Mentioned Josh Reed, a key player for Kansas State because of his legs on the perimeter shot. Sean Rhodes would be another one for the Wildcats.
Now the Cats get it back. Lester Earl getting off the floor. Been some pretty good bouts taking place down in the lane. Hello.
Solid picks inside. Everybody playing position basketball. Kansas State on the offensive end. KU with the defense. And now let's return the favor. Earl against Dyes.
Look at Chenoweth. Didn't there used to be a wrestler called the Strangler? He had the stranglehold down there a while ago. Now Groves almost lost it, but able to save it with 17 on the shot clock. 2:19 left in the first half. Cortez Groves off balance shot, and he knocked it down. My goodness.
That is Cortez Groves and his game. Loves the dribble drive. Loves to play the game in traffic.
He's put Kansas State up by one with his 7th point of the day. 2:02 left in the first half. London, Chenoweth, turnaround hook, and he buried it. 4 points for Eric, make it 6 for Eric Chenoweth.
That looks like a high percentage shot for him, doesn't it? A little spin move to the strong side. Nice release. Good touch on that baby hook.
Chenoweth with 6 points and 5 boards, and Groves finding the target again.
Cortez Groves, a pleasant surprise for Kansas State early on in the season with his perimeter shooting. They knew they had a good driving guard. Found out they had a good shooter as well.
Cortez Groves has 10. Well, really, maybe the best pure basketball player Kansas State has.
He is an outstanding athlete. They knew that he'd be a good defender, a ball handler, and a guy that could get to the basket. A Paco May type player. Not the same size, similar skills, but they needed another athlete out on the perimeter. He has not disappointed them this year.
Griffin and Reed and Rhodes all sit down for Kansas State now. So Leonard back in. Paco May is back out there. Here's Chenoweth on the line. 72% free throw shooter. And just buried that one. 7 points on the day for the 7-foot sophomore from Villa Park, California. Chenoweth, a 7-footer. Chris Mim down at Texas, 2 outstanding sophomore big men in this conference.
Saw a lot of Joe White.
Yep.
As well, a freshman from Texas A&M. I think he's going to be a good one.
Chenoweth got them both. 8 points for Eric Chenoweth. They're in a 29-29 tie with a minute and a half left in the half, and 22nd timeout taken by Kansas State here as the Wildcats brought the ball inbounds. Time to check on the sonic drive to Kansas City by checking some of the statistical leaders from the regular season in the Big 12 Conference. Get a cherry limeade when we stop down at Sonic. How about Adrian Peterson leading the conference in scoring this year? Marcus Fizer from Iowa State, a sophomore next. Gabe Wienecke, terrific player for Texas. Rayford Young, terrific guard down at Texas Tech. And Albert White from Missouri.
Adrian Peterson now fighting an ankle injury for Oklahoma State. Fizer has been the go-to guy for Iowa State each of the last 2 years. Boy, no telling what Rayford Young would have done if he'd have been healthy all season long. That ankle had been a problem through most of the conference schedule.
We'll never forget the performance he turned in against Kansas down in Lubbock this year when he scored 35 in the second half, 32 in the last 9 minutes. Now we got a foul on Marlon London.
Good trapping defense by Kansas that time. Very physical with the play. They want to step up and command the possession. Get the trap. Kansas State would like to pass the ball or step through the pressure if they possibly can, but Kansas very strong with their defensive trap. Ryan Robertson with the long arms.
Charge that foul to Ryan Robertson, not London. It's Robertson's first, and there's Kenny Gregory having been. He's taken a finger in the eye, it looks like. Mark Carnes, the Kansas trainer, is going to walk him to the sideline. Roy Williams talking to an official while this is going on. Well, there's some blood there, so he's going to have to leave the ball game and get that cleaned up.
Kenny Gregory having quite a tournament for Kansas. Played well against Kansas State earlier this year. Had a big night here last night. Played his way out of the starting lineup earlier this year, but now a key player coming off the bench for Roy Williams.
Gregory has made 27 of his last 46 shots. He's really been shooting the ball well. And they're going to take Kenny Gregory perhaps back to the locker room. With a minute 20 left in the first half, they want to go back and get this taken care of and have him ready for second half action. That's too bad. That's just another thing in this tournament, Paul. The medical staffs from both schools and the staff of the tournament have done a terrific job here. We've seen a couple of guys go down, thought they wouldn't be back, and they come back and play.
Well, back by the locker rooms of these teams, there is a training room, and it is well staffed. They will get the best possible attention available here at Kemper Arena.
It's a long wait now for Paco May to shoot this free throw while they get some blood cleaned up off the floor. Ryan Robertson helping things out. His mom taught him to be tidy. Chris Plack yesterday went out of the game, looked like he wouldn't be back, and they got him patched up and back in the ball game, and he played today and played well.
And did you see him riding the stationary bicycle?
Yes.
When instead of going to the bench, he wanted to make sure he kept the lower back loose.
After that long wait, Paco May drills the free throw. That's his first point of the ball game.
Well, he's the type of player that can be quiet for maybe an entire half, but still end up with a good ball game. With the offensive numbers, he'll always have one of the better defensive assignments for Kansas State.
Scored 33 in the first 2 Cat games in this tournament. And now he has Kansas State on top by 2 with 1:15 left in the first half.
Kansas State drops back into their 2-3 zone defense.
Marlon London. 3 guards on the floor for Kansas. That's Robertson with the ball. 19 on the shot clock. Boshi. 1 minute left in the half. Ryan Robertson in traffic. Boshi trying to drive by Paco May, gives it up, gets it right back, takes it to the circle, right back to London. 7 on the shot.
Having a lot of trouble getting into the middle of the Kansas State zone.
Boshi the miss. London fighting for the rebound, taken down by Joe Leonard for Kansas State. Leonard's 4th rebound of the ball game. Now 40 seconds left in the half. Down low, Kitt against Chenoweth. Lost the handle on it. Touch last by Chenoweth. 25 on the shot clock. 36.6 left in the first half for Kansas State. Cats trying to nurse this lead in the locker room.
Roy Williams wants to make sure that his team plays solid defense inside. They normally try to deny that entry pass, but Chenoweth comfortable in playing against a smaller player of Tony Kitt. Decided to play behind him. Take a shot at blocking his shot.
Well, Kansas State is not going to get that last shot, perhaps. Kansas now takes a 20-second timeout. Hawks will have the ball down by 2 when we come back. Tom Asbury. How about that new suit? A little pinstripe look for the Wildcat coach here today.
Let's recheck our keys to victory for these 2 teams here this afternoon. We set that up at the beginning of the ball game. The Kansas Jayhawks working against Kansas State wanted to be patient with their offense and done a pretty good job of that, and also see what they can do as far as defending Matty Dyes. Dyes with 4 points at this stage in the ball game. So Kansas, while they haven't shot the ball as well as they would have liked to, especially early in the game, starting to shoot it a little bit better. Kansas State had not been pressed all that much in the first 12 minutes of the first half, but once Kansas went into their pressure zone, they did create some turnovers. So Kansas State did not handle the pressure as Tom Asbury would like they would have done.
Tom's watching his team finish this season strongly. They are 20-11 now after beating Texas A&M 87-76 and Missouri 84-74 in the first 2 games in this tournament. Oklahoma State playing in the championship game tomorrow. They'll be going for 4 straight days. If Kansas State should pull off the upset in this one, they would be in a similar situation. Kansas got a first-round bye by virtue of being the number 3 seed in the tournament.
Kansas State felt if they could get through this ball game, this was going to be the biggest test. They were pretty comfortable playing tomorrow. Texas already banged up. Oklahoma State would be in the same boat they are, playing 4 straight days.
Chenoweth converts it, gets the tie, and they're going to go to the locker room with absolutely nothing settled as Chenoweth got it down at the end of the half, his 10th point, and we have a 31-31 tie as both teams head for the locker rooms here in Kemper Arena. Tight, tough basketball continues here. Oklahoma State won the first one. Neither team won the first half of this one. We'll get you back to Studio 66 in a moment.
Today's game is brought to you by Southwestern Bell, your friendly neighborhood global communications company. National Car Rental. What are you waiting for? Let's go. Las Vegas. It's anything and everything. Make your escape today. Call your travel agent. Time for a real car. Sonic, America's drive-in, where we invite you to drive in for a change. Phillips 66, makers of super clean gasolines and Trop Arctic motor oil.
Welcome back to Studio 66. Check out Beth Wilson, the Nations Bank Beat the Buzzer contestant. Oh, if she'd hit that shot, it would have been $100,000 in her pocket. She comes up just short, but congratulations to Beth. She was the main contestant in the Nation's Bank Beat the Buzzer contest. Let's go back to Fred White and Paul Splittorff. Guys.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome back to Kemper at halftime. Nothing decided here. We have a 31-31 tie. Kansas State and Kansas. Kansas State having lost the first 2 games this year to Kansas for the first time this year, at least, even at halftime with them.
Well, you said at the end of the first half, nothing decided on the scoreboard, and you take a look at the stats. There's really nothing decided there. It's an even ball game all the way across the board today.
Really is. Kansas State playing their best basketball of the year, as they come into this tournament having been dominated. Kansas having beaten them 15 times in a row. They've got it perked up a little bit here today. Stats at halftime, not a lot to pick from right there, but let's take a look at our Buick first half stats. Field goal shooting about even, and maybe looking at their defenses, Paul, for the year, about what you'd expect.
Yeah, you take a look at the field goal shooting percentage. That's about what the defense gives up for both these schools. Rebounds, even the offensive boards. Kansas State a little bit of an advantage from the three-point line. The bench scoring big time in favor of Kansas State. They have a deeper team than Kansas. Go a little bit deeper on the bench. They can spread out their minutes. Points in the paint. KU got it inside early with Eric Chenoweth. Probably going to start out doing that same thing here in the second half.
And remember those rebounds. At one time, Kansas State had them doubled. Cortez Groves with 10. Eric Chenoweth with 10 for Kansas. The leading scorers for the respective teams here today. Now Griffin drops it off. Paco May, open look, bang. Got it down. And the Wildcats get the second half start. 4 points for Iomi May.
Kansas worked their way back into this ball game with some pressure defense. Tried to apply a little bit of pressure right there. Wildcats handled it easily. Found an open shooter.
Now Bradford. Boshi down inside. TJ Pugh with a one-handed catch. Fired it right back in the lane, and Bradford lost the grip on it. Ryan Robertson picks it up. TJ Pugh spinning to the baseline, and a nice left-handed reverse. First 2 points for TJ Pugh. Boy, he's tough down in there.
Kansas does not look for a lot of points out of TJ Pugh. They look for solid defense, good rebound, and any points they get are bonus points.
Griffin, bothered by Boshi, able to keep his dribble. Look at TJ Pugh come all the way out to cover Sean Rhodes, who will shoot the 3. 15 on the shot clock for K-State. May shut down by Robertson. Rhodes turnaround, tough jump shot, won't fall. And look at Bradford scrape the rebound off the rim for Kansas and get it up in a hurry.
Bradford just won the race from that rebound out on the perimeter. He's able to get inside, get the carom.
Down low, they go right down inside again. Pugh, Bradford, got it. Nick Bradford's first 2 points of the ball game.
Kansas does in fact come out and work the ball inside their first 2 possessions. 3 guards out, up top, above the free throw line. Gives a lot of room to operate down low with Chenoweth and Pugh.
And interestingly, Paul, it's Pugh that's getting the touches right now, more so than Chenoweth.
And I would think Chenoweth would get a touch here pretty soon because Tony Kidd is matched up against him. Tony Kidd only 6'8", and Chenoweth at about 7 feet tall. He's got a big time height advantage.
Wipe that bucket off. Rhodes made the shot. It's not going to count, and he's going to be called for the charging foul. Sean Rhodes, second foul in the ball game. Check me on that. That's his 3rd. In overtime, Arkansas beats Mississippi State in the Southeast Conference semifinals. UNCC beat Louisville. Conference USA championship game today.
Tournament committee hard at work here on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, aren't they though? They are just a couple of miles from here. Ryan Robertson with his 8th point of the ball game.
Pull-up jumper from Ryan Robertson. Good mid-range shooter. A good perimeter shooter. Over the last few weeks started to put the ball on the floor a little bit more.
And he just went over 1,000 points in his career. And KU has their biggest lead of the day at 4 points. Ball out of bounds to Kansas State down there. So 1,001 points in his career for Ryan Robertson. You all know by now that his dad played football at Kansas State.
Hurt his left hand coming across that pick as well. Not his shooting hand. See him holding up right there.
Griffin, Kit having trouble catching, fires it back outside. Griffin cuts it loose and knocks down a 3.
That is the shot for Chris Griffin. Uncontested up top part of the circle. But inside, try to get it back out. He does not look for many shots.
Good able to salvage that, almost lost it. Chenoweth blocked by Kit, and the ball out of bounds to Kansas under their own basket, but a big block. Look at Kit fighting just to catch the ball down there, about to get called for traveling, and bailed it out.
On the other other end. Eric Chenoweth just had a great move inside to seal off the defender. Sean Rhodes had him beaten badly on the play, but Tony Kidd in quickly for the block shot.
Bradford outside to Marlon London. Long way to go in this ball game. Chenoweth off the lob, takes it up strong, got fouled. Dyes and Leonard were both there, and Chenoweth will go to the line. Danny Dyes. Second foul on Dyes.
High lob pass. Pugh with the pick down low, trying to free up the big center for KU. Kansas State reacted pretty well defensively. There were 3 purple jerseys around when Chenoweth went up for the shot.
Eric Chenoweth to the line. 4 for 4 at the line today. 10 points and 5 rebounds. Little body English helped him out that time. 6 stitches over Kenny Gregory's eye. He got hit with about a minute and a half left in the first half and went back to the locker room for a patch job. He'll be back in all likelihood. That's a good looking stroke. Eric Chenoweth now has a dozen points, 72% shooter on the year, and Kansas up by 3. The winner of this one meets Oklahoma State here in the championship game tomorrow afternoon. Now Griffin in trouble on the trap, and a timeout called by Kansas State.
Well, a couple things happened for Kansas State right there. First of all, Chris Griffin across the timeline, that trap came up. He did not deliver a pass until that trap got on him. He needs to pass a little bit early. And also his teammates, see if they're just standing around, or are they starting to come towards him to help him out. Travis Reynolds to the right of your screen, just step out. Now here comes Joe Leonard. He's a little bit late getting there. Can't see what's going on to the left, but it looks like the Kansas State players, for the most part, standing around on the floor. Well, let's take a little wider look, see what happens. Here comes the trap. Griffin's going to have a hard time seeing over it. He's just over 6 feet tall, and you know, people just kind of moving towards him, but not really cutting towards him to get themselves open, so he had to ask for the timeout.
And Paul, once you pick that dribble up, especially back by the timeline, you really have difficulty.
Well, Kansas really has to time that thing, and they've done a good job. Just as Chris Griffin got across the timeline, they didn't show trap until then.
Travis Reynolds got Joe Leonard down inside. Leonard scores his 7th point of the year. That's his season high. His career high is 9. Ryan Robertson out of the deep corner, no. Paco May with a board, and here come the Wildcats down 1. May sliding along the wing.
Talking about stitches above the eye, and Kenny Gregory with a half a dozen of them today. How about Joe Leonard over in Lawrence earlier this year? 7 stitches over his eye, and that was during warm-ups.
They haven't even teed it up yet. He got cut. Had to go to the locker room. Griffin off a dive screen with a short jump shot. Came up short with it. And the board grabbed by T.J. Pugh to Robertson. Ryan Robertson. Boshi. Pugh won't shoot it there. They just leave him alone. Bradford, lob low, Chenoweth. Now Boshi. Ball movement by the Jayhawks. 19 on the shot clock.
Perimeter shooters for KU are out on the wings.
Pugh to Robertson. May covers Robertson. Griffin has Boshi. Pugh sets a screen, and Leonard didn't go get him, and Boshi knocks it down. The screen worked.
Well, when the offensive player goes across the top part of the screen, the defender likes to step out and bump him. Force him to the outside a little bit. Give the defensive player time to slide through the pick. Didn't happen that time for Kansas State.
Kansas up by 3 with 15-19 left in the game. Leonard outside his range, looking to move the ball, does to Griffin.
Kansas State now starting to stand around a lot offensively. A 1-4 flat. Probably see an isolation play here. Paco May has the shot clock winding down.
3rd straight day of action for Kansas State. Kansas got a first-round bye. Got into action yesterday. Boy, they're airballing some short shots up there right now, Kansas State is.
Well, you want to take a look at the shooting percentages for these teams in the second half. It was a big factor in game 1 here today. Oklahoma State shot 26%. Texas 31%. They both struggled shooting in the second half.
Robertson knocks down a tray, and the KU fans starting to come to life here at Kemper now.
And who's going to have the strongest legs the rest of the way? Well, you would figure Kansas. They had the day off on Thursday.
Griffin a little strong with that try. Leonard saves the rebound, fires it right back outside. Paco May is going to try a 3. And we've got a whistle blowing and a foul against Kansas State. Travis Reynolds was down along the baseline committing the foul.
Starting to get the feeling that Kansas is putting things together over the last couple minutes.
Certainly do, and we'll be back after this from your message from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company. 4:38 Kansas has gone in front of Kansas State in the biggest lead of the day here for the Jayhawks. The Wildcats led by as many as 8 in the first half of this game. Look at the shooting disparity now in the second half. You mentioned it earlier, Paul.
Now, Kansas started to make a move later on in that first half, and off to another move to open in the second. You see the shooting percentages. Kansas State has had some good looks at the basket, but Kansas has been able to knock down the shots.
Jayhawks right now simply look a little fresher than Kansas State. And now they lost Robertson, but he almost traveled, able to save it. Hugh fires it inside. Chenoweth missed, and a foul call. They are simply pounding it down inside to the big guys now.
Kansas doing a good job of moving the ball around and getting their angles for the entry pass. Chenoweth moving from the near side of the floor to the other side. Posting up down on the blocks.
Chenoweth will shoot 2. He's 6 for 6 at the free throw line in this game, with a dozen points and a half dozen rebounds. Winner of this one meets Oklahoma State for the championship tomorrow. The Cowboys survived 2 last-second shots by Texas today and won that ball game 59-57. Chenoweth just in a groove at the free throw line. Chenoweth now 8 for 8 at the line with 14 points in this game.
Josh Kim now on the floor for Kansas State. He did not play in the first half. The perimeter shooter. Kansas may want to apply a little of that defensive pressure on him. Freshman that has faced a lot of the defensive pressure all season long.
Well, that's a tough miss for Kansas State. Leonard can't get that one down. Travis Reynolds had a wide open look from about 8 to 10 feet and missed it. And that one could really hurt him.
Well, if you're going to go into a shooting slump, you've got to do the other things very well. You can't turn the ball over at all. Got to play solid defense. Make sure it's one shot and out. Do a great job in the defensive glass, and it is one shot and out for KU.
Josh Kim in the game for the first time today for Kansas State. He's a shooter, and Tom Asbury looking for some points and some fresh legs. Dives. Going to be called a jump ball. And the ball belongs to Kansas on the possession arrow.
Tom Asbury knew that was going to be a great battle this afternoon. Manny Dias, the power forward for Kansas State. TJ Pugh from KU. His hands on top of that ball.
Kansas by 8 right now. They continue to extend that lead. Here's Tony Kitt checking in for Kansas State. Manny Dias coming out of the ball game. Tom Asbury really hunting for someone to give him a spark right now. Tony Kitt not really a scorer. More of a defender and rebounder.
Yeah, he's an offensive rebounder. Does a good job of getting to the offensive glass. He'll have to do a good job inside.
Is Kansas on the verge of a big run here and opening up a larger lead? Can Kansas State stop Kansas now and make a little run of their own? We're going to find out. 13 minutes to play, plus a few seconds. Boshi. Robertson. Boshi. Weigel. Top of the circle. Touch shooting left for Boshi. In and out. And the Wildcats survived that charge.
You notice when Robertson got in the middle of the defense, never looked at the basket. He looked out the corner of his eye to see where Boshi was going.
A little bit reminiscent of the pass he made when Boshi beat Colorado. Kitt gets the ball. Tony Kitt, first 2 points of the day.
Kitt, an inside player. Outstanding in the preseason. Slowed down a little bit in conference play. Part of that was players got bigger and stronger, but also Manny Dias starting playing better for Kansas State.
Now foul on Leonard, holding Pugh. Leonard's third.
When you get to the offensive end and you're struggling in shooting, that's the best shot you can get. Well, how about a dunk?
Go for the high percentage shot.
Another look. Tony Kitt. Quick with the body. Does a nice job of sealing off. Not as big and as strong as Manny Dias, but a lot quicker.
Well, they threw that pass right over Bradford to another player who got the shot. Now Earl loses the gripper on it. Boshi trying to save it. And Kitt has it. He's having trouble with it. Boshi takes it back, but he's standing on the stripe. And Kansas State winds up with the ball.
I thought we were going to wind up with the ball. It kept getting closer and closer. Ended up right in front of us. And I tell you, talk about work ethic. Guys working as hard as they can for the ball. First of all, it's Lester Earl for Kansas. Kim and Boshi. Boshi keeps it alive. Kitt's got his hands on it. They say it's getting closer and closer to us.
Well, he was sure that he had cleared the ball before he stepped on the out-of-bounds stripe. But the official said no. Kansas State down by 6, 12-17 to play. The Cats have a little run in them.
Cats need to do a good job of fighting off the KU defense, and they just did it.
Kim to the bucket, goaltending, charge to Gregory. Give Bruce Kim the basket. Or rather, Josh Kim, Bruce is his dad.
Bruce is at spring training. He's out in Tucson, Arizona. Got the see a lot of his son's games. Came down from Iowa to Manhattan to see a lot of the Kansas State games this year. Kenny Gregory back on the floor for KU. You mentioned the half a dozen stitches. Left the floor with about a minute and a half to play in the first half. His first appearance here in the second.
Boshi for the Jayhawks working against Josh Kim. Hugh comes out, sets a pick. Sims jump check Boshi. Robertson. Now Boshi again. Kim chasing him.
Kansas getting a lot of guard play. Using the weave out top, coming across the picks. Not looking inside as much as they did earlier in the half.
Now down inside Chenoweth with a jump hook. No. Travis Reynolds the rebound. Kansas State down 4 with the basketball. 11:35 left in this semifinal game. We've had a terrific 2 days of basketball here in Kemper. Rhodes got an open look and couldn't stick it. Chenoweth battling for the board. The ball is out of bounds to Kansas. Timeout here. 11:26 left in our ball game. Kansas leading 46-42. As you go away, take a look at the faces of the coaches. Tom Asbury for Kansas State. His club down 4. Roy Williams has seen his team come back to take the lead here in the second half. 66 is proud to be the title sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Stop by your local Phillips 66 station and fill up with high-quality, super clean gasoline only from Phillips 66, the performance company. And now let's take a look at the Nations Bank game summary. Kansas State under 40%. Kansas in the second half shooting the ball very well, led by Ryan Robertson, who's gone over 1,000 career points here now. Cortez Groves had 10 in the first half for Kansas State, hasn't scored. Wildcats at one time up by 8, now down by 4, and Kansas with the lead and the ball. Robertson against Groves. Gregory against the freshman Reynolds. Fadeaway jump shot won't call. Chenoweth had the ball and the foul called on Sean Rhodes of Kansas State.
Came away with that foul that time simply because he did not have inside position on Eric Chenoweth. Chenoweth working harder than Sean Rhodes, just beat him to the spot. Took the rebound over the top.
And that's the 4th foul on Sean Rhodes. He's going to sit down. Manny Dies will re-enter the Kansas State lineup.
That means Kansas State goes with a smaller lineup. Sean Rhodes leaves, so Kansas State plays with smaller bodies. Going to have to play strong inside with Dies and Ty Sims.
Sean Rhodes has not done well against Kansas this year. He had scored 8 points and had 4 rebounds in 2 games prior to today. And Sean Rhodes hasn't scored in this game.
Kansas State back in that 2-3 zone defense. And he Dies will be the center.
Chenoweth just barreling his way to the basket. Knocks it down. Kansas by 6. Chenoweth with 16 points now.
Well, if Chenoweth can get the ball down that low, working against a 6'8 player like Dies, he should be able to score a ton of points here in the final few minutes. And Dies is active inside.
How about slipping away from the double team? Robertson was helping Chenoweth.
Manny Dies likes to move that way. Happened to be the double team pressure was on the low side. He took the spin the opposite way.
Chenoweth the turnaround jumper. Dies the board. Kansas State down 4. Josh Kim against Boshi. Shooter on shooter right there. Now Sims, now Reynolds, the freshman, now Kim behind the screen from Sims. Jump shot off the side. Sims got the board and got fouled by Ryan Robertson.
Well, Fred, let's take a look at the play inside the last couple possessions. First of all, Chenoweth doing a good job of posting up on Manny Dies. Working in the middle of the zone, now inside of Travis Reynolds. Moved to an open spot of the floor. Got an easy layup. Now down on the other end. Chenoweth playing behind Dies. Feels that he can go ahead and play behind him and maybe get to his shot to block it. Couldn't get to that one. He's got 2 points on the baby hook.
Ty Sims missed the free throw. And Kansas State still down 4. 10 minutes, 4 seconds to go in this semifinal game. The winner meets Oklahoma State here tomorrow. Well, look at Gregory go up and spear that rebound. He really got some elevation. So Kansas gets the ball back, still leading by 4, and the clock dips under 10 minutes to play.
Kenny Gregory's putting together some good performances for Kansas over the last week or so. Can be a quality player coming off the bench, adding depth to the Kansas Jayhawks. Boshi in the starting lineup.
Pops the 3. Jeff Boshi with 10 points in the afternoon. That's a big bucket. Kansas now out by 7. Their biggest lead of the day.
And again, no problem at all for Jeff Boshi to take a key shot in a ball game for KU, even though he's in the second semester of his freshman year.
Now the whistle blows at the other end. Kansas State get up by 8 a little bit earlier. They're up by 7 now. Kansas State really struggling to catch up here in the second half. Now Kim is out and Griffin back in for Kansas State. Reed to Cortez Groves.
Kansas State has scored just 6 points here in the second half, and we played 10.5 minutes.
Well, Kansas stopped that drive, but then a foul. That foul is against Jeff Carey of Kansas, his first. Just came in the ball game.
Carey played some quality minutes in the game played earlier this year out in Manhattan.
Manny Dies has 6 points and 5 rebounds in this game. Kansas has really handled the Kansas State front line. Dies a good free throw shooter, 74% shooter, but that one off the back of the rim. Now Nick Bradford back in for Kansas, and Carey coming right back out of the ball game. Not much working for Kansas State right now. That doesn't either. Look at Chenoweth go up and take control.
When you talk to the Kansas State coaches, they'll tell you when they shoot the ball well, they feel like they can play with anybody. When they don't shoot the ball, they have trouble playing with anybody.
9 rebounds now for Chenoweth, and an interception. Sims all alone. Just laid it up softly and knocked it down. So Ty Sims may be a big play for Kansas State. They're within 5.
Well, they needed a spark, and they needed to do something on the defensive end because the offense wasn't working.
Missed by Chenoweth, rebounded by Cortez Groves. Reed and Gregory hit the deck at the other end. Groves working in the circle, spinning jump shot, in and out. And the rebound to Gregory, who caught up with all that action after being on the floor at the other end. Boshi inside and a foul call.
A lot of actions, both ends of the floor. Solid defense being played by both teams. Ty Sims steps up. Has a steal and an easy layup at one end. Kansas State fans wanted a traveling call on that. Oh, that's a close call. Don't want to be an official for a college basketball game. Too many decisions to be made.
Tough job, isn't it? And, you know, overall, the officiating in this tournament, I have to say, has been good. Hasn't been much controversy. Here's Boshi on the line. 75% shooter, has 10 points today for Kansas. Kitt with a rebound. Tony Kitt gets his second rebound of the day for Kansas State. Wildcats down 5, 8.5 minutes to go.
One of the reasons Kansas State's still in this ball game, even though they've had poor shooting in the second half, has been their defensive rebounding.
Guys missed a tough shot. Tony Kitt grabbed the board and got fouled. That was really a difficult shot.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to take that shot. I think if he had a chance to rethink it, he wouldn't take it. Came too early in the possession. Manny Dies, the senior, has really played well for Tom Asbury over the last 3 weeks. Wants to continue his senior season, get to the finals.
Second foul on Jeff Boshi. Kansas State trying to get it narrowed down, still down by 5. Cortez Groves faced London. Reed caught a deflected pass, lobs it up softly, won't fall. And Bradford with a one-handed rebound and a foul on Kansas State.
Bradford almost had a steal earlier in that possession. Slapped a pass away from Manny Dies. Kansas State kept possession. Came away with the foul.
And the third foul on Manny. Tom Asbury, little pondering right now what he might be able to do to get things going. Decides to run a substitute in there. He's going to send Paco May back on the floor. He's a senior who has been leading Kansas State in this tournament, providing some spark. Bradford to the line, a 59% shooter. Bradford with 2 points in this ball game. He just doesn't look comfortable up there, does he? There's a lot of activity when he gets ready to shoot a free throw.
Kansas, the worst free throw shooting team in the conference this year. It's one of the reasons Ryan Robertson wanted to press the issue a little bit more and try to force teams to defense up on him, see if he could get to the line more. He's their best free throw shooter.
Knocked down the first one here and came back, and the second one wouldn't fall for him. Look at Kitt just ripped the rebound down. 4 rebounds for Tony Kitt. Kansas State gets it inside. Manny Dies right back out, and Josh Reed having trouble handling it. Saves it to the deep corner. Griffin has a look for a 3, and it won't fall. Rebound, Marlon London for Kansas. And he's going to pull it back and make it safe now.
One of the reasons Kansas State is having some problem shooting is Kansas has done a nice job of identifying the shooters. You see all the pressure on Josh Reed, legitimate three-point threat for Kansas State. He had double-team pressure. Griffin was left wide open at the 3-line.
Chenoweth, Kit bothered that shot a little bit and grabbed the rebound, his 5th. Still a 6-point lead for Kansas. Right now, neither side getting it done on offense.
Kansas State doing a great job one more time on that defensive board. One shot and out for KU.
Manny Dies caught that pass, had a man pinned, but you see how cautious he was when he turned around and took a look at the basket, wondering where Chenoweth was. 7:21 left in this one. Kansas State still hanging in. Kansas has not been able to land the knockout punch in this ball game. Kansas State down 6 with 7:21 to play. Kansas looking for their 21st win of the year, and so is Kansas State. 7:21 to play, and the winner of this one now will take on Oklahoma State tomorrow. North Carolina knocked off Maryland in the ACC tournament today. Roy Williams doesn't have time to worry about that, but he'll smile when he sees that one, the North Carolina crowd. Bob Frederick, the Kansas AD, has a son playing at North Carolina. Tom Asbury sitting on the Kansas State bench, where Lon Kruger one time resided as a player and a coach. Not on the bench as a player, played a lot. Kruger, coaching Illinois today, has already beaten Minnesota and Indiana in the Big Ten tournament, and they're ahead of Ohio State in the second half. The Illini making a run, and they had a bad year. Josh Reed missed it, got it back. Hugh blocked him. Tony Kidd working, he didn't get it. And the whistle finally blowing down under the basket. Kansas State missing some pretty good shots right now, Paul.
Kansas State came in after that inbounds pass with a set play for Josh Reed, a guy they've been unable to get on track here in the second half. Tom Asbury goes to his best shooter from the outside. Reed couldn't get the shot down, but Kansas State strong on the offensive glass. Need to hit some free throws right here. Still a lot of time left in this ball game.
Kidd just a 59% shooter, 7:09 to play. Got a lot of rim, got a point out of it. He has 3 points today.
One of these teams has been able to pick up a lot of confidence throughout the course of the season. It seems like anytime Kansas will go out and win 3 or 4 ball games in a row, you think they're on a roll. They come out with a poorly played game, like the game up in Ames to close out the season. Same story with Kansas State. They didn't play well, but they had extended shooting slumps in ball games where they appeared to have a good chance to win. Didn't play well, came away with a loss.
Well, I have a question about that. We've talked about their defensive prowess on both sides. Gregory, tough shot. That one won't fall. How much, I wonder, is expending all the energy on defense have to do with the shooting problems?
I think a lot of that has to do with it. A lot of defensive pressure. Kansas State has always played defense first, and they're not the type of team that creates a lot of turnovers. Teams like Nebraska, when they can create turnovers, they're so quick to the offensive end, they end up shooting layups. They become explosive. Oklahoma State has got great athletes. They like to get up and down the floor. If they can get turnovers, they can still get points, even though they don't shoot well from the perimeter. But Kansas State does not create all that many turnovers. They play kind of a contained type defense. Pressure the ball and try to keep the other players on the outside.
Kansas State shooting just 33% in this one. Kansas 36. You saw Reed going out. Rose coming in for Kansas State.
Well, that kind of shooting percentage, neither one of these teams is going to run off and hide from the other one. It's going to be close the rest of the way.
Paco May found Manny Dies standing down inside, and he dumped one in over PJQ. Manny Dies with his 8-point. Kansas State within 2 now with 6:20 to play, and the Wildcat fans starting to get some hope in Kemper Arena.
Dies with the strong move inside, effective when he's close to the basket.
Bradford blocked by Dies. Kidd committed a foul on cue. Action heating up under the boards now. First foul on Tony Kidd.
Manny Dies has been a leader for Kansas State over the last 3 weeks, playing a lot better in conference play. Second team performer all conference last year. Not great senior season for Dies, but a good move right there.
DJ Pugh, 2 points today, 56% free throw shooter. One of the great mysteries in college basketball. What has happened to free throw shooting?
How about when we went to Texas Tech to do a ball game and they had 3 different shooters with consecutive streaks that were out to 15 and 18 consecutive free throws. Rayford Young was one of them. Stan Bonowitz was another. Was it Andy Ellis? Was he the third one?
The freshman? I think so. Pugh has 4. He knocked them both down. 6:11 to play. At a 4-point lead to the Jayhawks. Pugh comes out of the ball game now. Bradford, Chenoweth, Robertson, Boshi, and Marlon London for Kansas. Rose, Griffin, Kit, May, and Dies for Kansas State.
Get to this stage of the ballgame, maybe the winner of this game is going to be the team that wants it the most. Kansas playing for a seeded position. Kansas State still playing to get in the tournament.
May with a huge bucket for Kansas State. It's Trey. 1-point lead, Jayhawks. Robertson, no answer there. Chenoweth battling for the board. It's loose. The ball flying around. Picked up, Kansas State. Here come the Cats with numbers. Cortez Groves is going to try it. Tipped in by Kitt, and the Wildcats take the lead.
Tony Kitt, an amazing knack for getting to the glass. Long, lean body. It's tough to screen him out.
We've got another battle in Kemper. Kitt the block. Look at the emotion.
Kansas State starting to reach back for a little more energy. On the drive, Cortez Groves misses. There's Tony Kitt.
Came all the way down the lane. Back to action. Dies slaps a shot away. Out of bounds to Kansas with 17 on the shot clock and 5:12 left in the game. And all of a sudden, Paul, this game has locked up.
Manny Dies was going to get that block. The KU handler had slipped to the floor, but Dies would have been better served just to get a hand on the ball instead of trying with the power block. He knocked it out of bounds, but Kansas State playing solid defense at the 1-point lead.
Rose replaces Kitt for Kansas State, but Kitt gave him an emotional charge while he was in there.
Well, he's done that all season long. A source of energy for Kansas State. Now it's up to the seniors.
55-54, Kansas State, 5:07 to play. Chenoweth, they'll leave him alone out there. He's only shot 3 threes all year, made one of them. Boshi, though, will take it and get it. Jeff Boshi with a big bucket for Kansas. And the Hawks up 2 with 4:55 to play, and the deal is on in Kemper. Griffin to the baseline. Tip up, no. Chenoweth grabbed the board. Here come the Hawks up by 2. London to Boshi to Chenoweth as they set their half-court offense. 24 on the shot clock. London watched Chenoweth, got it down inside. He's gone to work. No shot. Dies shutting down. Boshi tough to the lane. Bradford gets the look. Chenoweth missed the shot, and Bradford got it back. The Hawks are going to get another shot at it here. 4:19 left in the game. They're still up by 2 as they work the offensive board.
Great effort by both teams. Kansas patient on the offensive end, working hard, and Kansas State playing great defense.
Cortez Groves picks up the foul. He went for the interception as the ball came down to Chenoweth, and Chenoweth will go to the line. He is 8 for 8 on the line today with a double-double. 16 points and 11 rebounds today for Eric Chenoweth.
Talk about the inside play. Kansas looking for the big guy inside. Eric Chenoweth. Even though Ryan Robertson is the leader for this Kansas team, he is the senior on the team. Their best players might be underclassmen. Chenoweth, the sophomore, and Boshi, the freshman.
9 for 9 at the line for Eric Chenoweth. Roy Williams has his club up by 3 and saying, come on. 4 minutes. 11 seconds to play as these teams try to fight their way into tomorrow in the championship game against Oklahoma State here in Kemper. Boy, the last 2 days have been really exciting basketball in here. Chenoweth still on the roll, 10 for 10 at the line. 18 points, 11 boards. Hawks by 4, 4:05 to play. Now the KU crowd on their feet and roaring. And the Kansas State fans come to their feet to encourage their club. Rhodes against Pugh. Cortez Groves. Robertson slipped. He's in the lane. Got it. Cortez Groves a slasher.
This is the time of the ball game where the players don't even think about how their legs feel or what they have left in their tank. A lot of noise in the building. This ball game's on the line.
Kansas by 2. 3:42 to play. Robertson inside TJ Pugh. Boshi picked up by Groves in the switch. London. Dies came to get him. Robertson hands it to Boshi. Down inside. Pugh jump hook. On the rim. Fell. TJ Pugh with 6 points. And it's Kansas by 4 with 3:19 to play.
Pressure on the players right here not to make any mistakes. Offensively, you want to make sure you take a good shot every down. Defensively, you want to make sure you don't make a mistake and leave somebody alone.
Pugh not a scorer, but a senior willing to take the big shot, and he made it. 16 on the shot clock for Kansas State. 3 minutes left in the game. May is fouled as he takes it to the circle. He was double teamed by London and Boshi, and London drew the foul. So it'll be Paco May to the line, the senior for Kansas State. 7 points today. But before he shoots it, we'll be back after this message from your friends at Phillips 66, the Performance Company. It is getting intense in Kemper. Talking to his Jayhawks.
You want to make sure you cover a number of things. First of all, on the defensive end, you want to be aware of matchups and anticipate what your opponent is going to do. Then on the offensive end, you want to pick out a hot shooter, a guy that likes the ball in his hands late in the contest, somebody who's got a chance to do something for you. Kansas State, they can play loose. Everything to gain and nothing to lose in this ball game. Well, they need to win today to stay alive with hopes of getting to the NCAA. Ryan Robertson, the senior, wants to play tomorrow for KU.
Kansas State having lost 15 in a row to Kansas, battling the Jayhawks down to the wire here today after losing twice to them this year by sizable margins. 2:47 left in the game. Boshi all over Paco May. Now Groves. Rhodes had a screen for him for a moment. Tough shot. Rhodes can't get that one to go.
And that is a tough shot. Shooting into a much taller player in TJ Pugh, who had solid defensive position.
Kansas by 4 with a possession now that could really hurt Kansas State. Chenoweth working for a shot, not there. Rhodes shut him down that time. Chenoweth coming out, set a screen now. He won't shoot it from there. Robertson, now Marlon London, got by Groves on the baseline. Chenoweth there. He's stuck.
Well, Chenoweth with the finish, but how about the fact that Marlon London is on the floor with 2 minutes to play in a very close ball game? Another freshman for Kansas.
And created a shot for Chenoweth, and the Hawks up by 6, and their fans are roaring. Now K-State needs a bucket. A minute 56 to play. They go to Dyes down inside. That's a tough shot. It won't fall, but a foul's been called, and the action is heated here in Kemper now. Time now to take a look at our best play of the game, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, where the best part is our people.
With the ball game close late, you want to make sure you execute well offensively and get a good shot. Chenoweth will never have an easier one. And again, Marlon London makes it happen.
Andy Dyes made the free throw, the first, and he'll make another attempt here. Down by 5 points, Kansas State now with a minute 53 to play. Dyes with 9 points in this ball game and 6 rebounds. The miss tipped out. Dyes has it. Kansas State down 5. Paco May got a look. In and out. And the rebound battle won by Kansas. Lemon picks it up in the corner, and the Hawks up 5 with a basketball in a minute 41 to play.
Looks like Kansas State was going to get that rebound, couldn't control it.
A foul on Chris Griffin. Kansas State thought they had forced the turnover. Instead, it's Griffin's second foul. A minute 37 to play now. And it will be the freshman, Jeff Boshi, to the line. 75% shooter on the year. Missed his only free throw attempt today. Has 13 points in this game. 6'1" freshman from Valley City, North Dakota.
This is an advantage Kansas has coming down the stretch against Kansas State. Point guard for Kansas, a better free throw shooter.
Boshi now could make it a 7-point ball game in a 3-possession game, and the miss tipped out. Kansas recovers. That's huge. That is really big. No hurry to shoot it now for the Jayhawks. They're up 6 with a minute 25 to play. Still a 2-possession game.
Kansas will want to spread the floor, get a lot of spacing between their players, stay away from double teams. They get to kill some clock, and they force the Wildcats to play some defense, maybe take a little bit more out of their legs.
11 on the shot clock. Bradford facing Dyes. 6 on the shot clock. Boshi. 4 on the shot clock. Boshi in the lane. Tough shot. Nailed it. Oh. That would be the dagger in the heart. An 8-point lead to Kansas. Groves can't answer. Kansas has the ball. They've got London up court against Chris Griffin. To the bucket he goes. The miss. Kansas State's going to have to race it back up there. 41 seconds to play. They are down 8. They can't wait. And a charging foul. Kansas gets it back, and it looks like the Jayhawks are going to be playing on Sunday. Tom Asbury has seen his club give it one heck of a battle here today, but about to lose to Kansas for the third time this year, 16th time overall. Here is our player of the game, brought to you by Phillips 66. When it comes to convenience and value, top of the class. Our player of the game, Jeff Boschee of Kansas, tied his career high today with 16 points.
Fred, he may develop more as a basketball player over the next 3 years at Kansas, but I don't think he'll get any tougher mentally. I think he's already as tough as they come.
30 seconds to the championship game for Kansas. They got it done in the second half today. It was a 31-31 tie at halftime. Kansas State had the lead in the first half. The Wildcats not coming to get it. 10 on the shot clock, 13 on the game clock. Kansas State has conceded. Boschee gets it back, fires a long three. Icing on the cake. Ice the cake for Kansas. 4 seconds to go. Kansas up by 11, biggest lead of the day. Rhodes misses. It's over. Kansas has won it. They are 21-9 and going to play on Sunday against Oklahoma State for the Big 12 postseason tournament championship. And the Hawks will be after their third straight Big 12 tournament championship. Kansas State gave it a heck of a battle here today, Paul.
Kansas State in this ball game early on, in fact, led throughout most of the first half. Shooting problems early in the second half. Kansas started to pick up the momentum late in the first. They were able to continue it into the final 20 minutes.
So the Hawks walking away a winner here today in Kemper. Boy, it has been a great 2 days of basketball here.
Well, we figured it would be. Everybody said this tournament was wide open, and the teams have gone out on the floor, and they have proved it. It is wide open.